Ho, 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 gentlemen. The holidays have come early this year as Manscaped have the gift that keeps on trimming. Santa's beard isn't so appealing when it's coming out of your trousers, and that's why Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, have you covered this holiday season. Now available in your country, join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped to keep their trees trimmed and ornaments polished. Go to manscaped.com and use code DTR for 20% off plus free shipping.
Stafford under pressure, and a tuck it, and he's in! Darrell Henderson, he's off and running! As Woods, touchdown! Cooper Kupp just went up and took it away.
Van Jefferson for the touchdown.
Aaron Donald smothers him. Jalen Ramsey with the pop-up. Sacked by Leonard Floyd, having a day again. Darius Williams with a diving hit.
Jordan Fuller comes up with his second interception of the night.
Welcome back, guys, to episode 397 of the Downtown Rams podcast. I'm your host, Jake Ellenbogen, who will be flying solo on this one because Alexis Kraft is unable to attend this podcast. She'll be back to the next one. Just a quick little thing I want to throw out there. This audio that you will be hearing is actually from my YouTube channel. I did a preview on my YouTube channel, and I figured for people that haven't listened to that, they can go over and they can check it out on YouTube if they want to watch the video. But I already recorded pretty much all my thoughts, live, about this game, the Rams-Seahawks playing on Tuesday night. So I'm releasing this on a Monday night. And you're going to hear this, and if you're wondering why it sounds identical to the YouTube video, if you've already seen that, that's why. Before we get into it, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe, and be sure to, word of mouth is big for us, so be sure to share this if you enjoy it. So before I get started, I just want to talk about the future of Downtown Rams and the podcast. We made a pretty big decision, and I want you guys to hear it first thing. We have decided, starting 2022, in some capacity, not sure exactly how it's going to look, but the Downtown Rams podcast is going to be going to a 5-day-a-week structure. We're going to be podcasting every single day, and that may come with Alexis and I, just me, maybe even the old co-host and, the site runner, Blaine Greasack of Downtown Rams. But regardless, I am going to do my best to bring you an experience that you have not seen yet on this podcast. I am going to do my best to take this up a notch, and so is Alexis, and so is Blaine, and whoever else is coming on. That means more guests. I know people have been asking where have the special guests been. There's going to be special guests. We're going to be doing a lot of draft coverage. And with that 5-day-a-week structure, there's a very good chance that we're going to be able to cover each individual prospect that we want to cover on one episode. So we're really excited for that revelation there. But on top of it, we're really excited to add more content to your, weekly listening. I understand a lot of people just want to listen to the Rams all week. They don't want to do anything else, and that is totally fine. But now I feel like we can really, meet those demands, and we can start to earn your trust as a daily podcast for the LA Rams. Now, keep this in mind. I will still be doing my YouTube shows, so those can overlap. But also, to add another thing here, we are going to be releasing all Downtown Rams podcast episodes on my official YouTube channel, Jake Ellenbogen, 85% Rams channel. We are going to release all of the Downtown Rams podcasts in addition to the other streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, what have you. We will be releasing them on YouTube as well on my channel instead of the Downtown Rams channel. I have almost 9,000 subscribers on my channel, so I figured for people that have never listened to the podcast before and might actually like it, I figured let's put it over there. Let's get more eyes on it. Let's get more ears on it. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll also be doing some live shows monthly, Alexis and I. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Really excited for 2022. Just wanted to fill you in before we get started. But yeah, a lot of stuff coming down the pike. And, a lot of stuff to be excited about. If you're a fan of DTR, you're a fan of me, Alexis, Blaine, any one of us, there's a lot of stuff, and we're really excited to, be able to put that content together for you. So that is that as far as the news that I want to bring up. This is going to be the Rams-Seahawks preview. But again, it's going to be the audio from the live stream I did. I'm going to be cutting out certain parts of it, obviously, because I do like to go a little off topic at times. Since it's a live stream, sometimes people ask me about other questions relating to other things, and so I answer them. So I will be cutting those out, but for the most part, this is your Rams and Seahawks preview show. Hope you guys enjoy. If you do, be sure to subscribe and be sure to tell somebody about it. And we'll take a break in the middle of it, of course, to do some ad reads, and then that's going to be the podcast. So we'll get you guys ready for the Rams-Seahawks game on Tuesday night, and hope you guys enjoy. Interesting game. The Seahawks, they've won 2 straight. The Rams, they've won 2 straight. The Seahawks are 5-8. They're trying to grasp to anything that could be considered a playoff, potential, spot. Whereas the Rams are playing still for the number 1 seed. They're the best team in the league, in my opinion, a team that has had their moments, but I think they really found their stride. You look at it against the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think they really found, a rhythm, and then, kind of found their identity. And you looked at, the Cardinals game, and I think that was them kind of putting it all together and showing everyone on national television, despite the fact they had all of those missing pieces. Hey, this team is legit. And if you want to believe whatever you want, but, the Rams are going to keep trucking along despite, all the COVID instances. And I think that's been a big thing for the Rams. I've been very impressed with them over the last 2 weeks, where, Seattle as well. They're a team, they beat the San Francisco 49ers, a 49ers team that has been very good as of late. But in addition to that, they're also a team that they blew out Houston. I mean, of course, you go up against Houston, that's what you should do, but Seattle isn't exactly the best team this year, so to see them blow out Houston, that's them taking care of business. Russell Wilson's healthy again. They have a bunch of COVID, concerns, guys that probably won't play, which includes DJ Reed, a very stud corner, one of their starting corners. That could be an issue for them. Uncertain about the status of Tyler Lockett. And when you look at the Rams, they're hoping to get Von Miller, Tyler Higbee, and other guys back from the COVID list for this game. So we'll see how that goes. Tyler Higbee initially missed the first game due to a false positive. He was taken off the COVID list, and then unfortunately they found out that he did have COVID for real the second time, and so that's how that worked. Ramsey's going to play, so I see people asking about Jalen Ramsey. He's going to play. He's going to be good to go, so excited to see him back in action. Robert Rochelle's off the COVID list, but he's still on IR and can't come back quite yet. He's going to have to miss at least 3 weeks. I believe this is the last week of that. Rams have had a bunch of guys come back from the list. Looking at it, Darrell Henderson's a big one. We'll see. Sean McVay was non-committal to who would start. I personally think he's going to ride the hot hand with Sony Michel and sprinkle in Darrell Henderson and use him as a change of pace, scat back type of guy. But we will see. Personally, I think he's a better pass protector, so you can make the argument that Henderson, because of that, would be more useful as a starter, while Sony Michel could spell him in short yardage situations using his power. But make no mistake about it, this is a very good team to run against. This is a team that has struggled against the run. You look at their run defense. I mean, they're 22nd in the league. They give up 116 yards per game, but you look at, say, you went on FanDuel and you look at, running backs per defense, whatever, they're giving up, I think they're 31st in the league against running backs. So they're giving up a lot of fantasy points to running backs. I think this is a good opportunity for Henderson to get back into the rhythm of things. I think it's a good opportunity for Sony Michel to keep, he found his stride. Let's, keep it up, find that consistency, keep it up. But on top of that, they did get back Odell Beckham Jr. He did play last game, but we found out he played with COVID, so now he is back. He is healthy. He is ready to go. I think that's going to be a huge add, somebody that they didn't have against the Seattle Seahawks the last time they played them. They beat Seattle 27-16, so 26-17. So they beat them by 9. Seattle comes into this game. They need this win. Rams come in this game. They need it for a different reason. Right now, the Rams, there's blood in the water. They beat Arizona. Arizona lost to Detroit. And now all of a sudden, that at the end of the day, that division is wide open for the taking for the Rams. If Arizona cannot beat the Colts or the Cowboys or Seattle, who they finish out the season with, and the Rams win out, if the Arizona Cardinals lose one of those games, the Rams win out, they clinch the division. They will have taken over the NFC West basically right out from under their nose. So that is a big thing moving forward. That's something to keep in mind. Looking at these two teams, the Rams average 28.2 points per game, which is 4th in the league, to Seattle's 20.9, which is 21st in the league. The Rams are 7th in total offense with 384.5 yards of total offense per game, whereas Seattle comes into this game 28th in the league with 310.2. Looking at the run offense, Seattle is 22nd, 104.4, whereas the Rams are 97.2 per game. They're 24th. They're getting better each week. So, that's not reflective of that, so to speak. 287.3 passing yards per game. That is 3rd in the league to Seattle's 205.8, which is 24th. Key here, time of possession. The Rams are getting better with their time of possession, but they're still 26th in the league. They average 28 minutes and 32 seconds of time of possession per game, whereas Seattle is the worst team in time of possession in the league. They average a time of possession of 25 minutes per game, which is pretty ridiculous. So, that's a huge opportunity for the Rams as well. The Rams have sacked the quarterback 36 times to Seattle's 21, and the Rams have 14 interceptions to Seattle's 7. They have the turnover differential of +5. That's tied for 8th in the league, whereas Seattle has a +3, which is tied for 10th in the league. And right now, this is a team right now. The Rams, they're out for blood. Like I said, they have a chance to win that division. They know that. They have to take care of business on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. And I think that they'll do that. I think they have, an opportunity to come in there and they could blow Seattle out of the water. I'm seeing a more 31-19 affair. I think it's going to be a 12-point game. I think the Rams will come out strong. I think they'll lead at the half, which is a recipe for success when you look at their coach teams by Sean McVay. I mean, they're undefeated when leading at halftime. So I think they'll come out. They're at SoFi. Plenty of time, because they did come off the Monday night game. I think that's why Seattle fans were so annoyed that this game was being moved back, is because, the Rams were coming off a short week, and so Seattle already had an advantage, and it took away their advantage. But, I mean, let's call it like it is, guys. I mean, there were COVID instances on both sides, and it's not like the Rams wanted to get COVID. So you can hold it against them all you want, but at the end of the day, I think the NFL made the right decision in doing so, pushing it back. Now, looking at the whole thing, DK Metcalf, what have you, it's going to be a huge opportunity for him, who has struggled this season. DK has not been the same receiver. He is not playing with that physicality, that, kind of, takeover type, if you will. I mean, he could take over games when he wants to, but he hasn't played with that. The Seattle Seahawks are going to need him big time in this one. Their back is against the wall. They're 5-8. You look at the teams playing tonight, you have the Vikings playing, the Bears are still in the hunt. Teams like that, the Niners, the Eagles, Washington, Saints won last night. Seattle doesn't have many losses on their schedule that they can, take on if they want to actually make the playoffs, because I don't think it's going to be a below 500 team making the playoffs this year. I know it looked that way. I know there was a potential of that, but the 49ers have gotten hot as of late. The Saints just, basically shut out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and have an easier schedule moving forward. The Vikings are a good football team. They've lost, all their losses have been tough, one possession losses. They've shown they can compete. So I look at Seattle as pretty much this is it for their season. If they lose to the Rams here, they're 5-9. It's going to be wicked difficult to get into the playoffs at 8-9, assuming they win out after losing that game. And that's not a guarantee either. So that is a big thing here. I'll be honest with you, looking at the Rams, I wouldn't be surprised if they run the table, and I kind of feel like they might, but we'll see. Well, they have an opportunity, but they got to take care of business, and it starts with Seattle. They're not going to overlook Seattle, not going to do that. I'm expecting them to keep doing their thing, keep running some 12 personnel grouping in there, get Kendall Blanton comfortable because he is the backup tight end and he needs more reps. Get Bryson Hopkins comfortable. Tyler Higbee may or may not play. And so if he doesn't play, this is another huge opportunity for Kendall Blanton. And then in the run game, this team struggles against the run. Take advantage of that. Run the football. And on top of that, set up play action. Stafford has been unbelievable with play action, just like Jared Goff was. But unfortunately, they don't run play action nearly enough. And when they do, it works. So I don't really know what's going on there. Although they've kind of gotten it, they've gotten a little bit better with that. But Stafford, they got to keep, the pedal to the metal here. You can't overlook Seattle. Again, I don't think they'll do that. But you got to keep things going. You have to build this momentum and carry on into the playoffs. Because this is a playoff team, no doubt. I'm not worried about them making the playoffs. This is all about winning the Super Bowl. This is a team that's built to win a championship, and if they don't win it, to me, it's going to be a failure of a season. And whether that's harsh or not, that's what it comes down to. They did all of this because of that. Okay, they went out and they got an Odell, a Von Miller, Matthew Stafford, because they weren't trying to be complacent this season like other teams around the league. Because owners, they might not care as much about winning as other owners. Or a general manager. You find an owner that gets super comfortable and a general manager that feels like, well, my job's not on the line. I'm not going to make that tough decision, sacrifice all sorts of draft capital to go out and get a player like Stafford when it might cost me my job if it doesn't work. However, Les Snead, McVay, this is what they do. However, keep this in mind, you don't win Super Bowls and all of a sudden this starts to blow up in your face. Because you're risking the long-term future. And you're also, it doesn't mean they can't compete in the long term, but essentially what it does mean is that it makes it more difficult to build a team, because you don't have those draft picks, you don't have first-round picks. And say what you will, and I'm personally on a team, I don't need a first-round draft pick because, they're $5-6 million against the cap anyway. But, say what you will about that. Eventually, it'll start to wear on you if you're not winning. So this is a big opportunity for the Rams. They have Seattle this week. They have Minnesota the next week. They have the Ravens. And then they wrap up the season with the San Francisco 49ers. They got to take care of business, simply put. Jordan Fuller and Von Miller, I don't know if they'll play. It's just a matter of if they're going to test positive or not, or negative or not. And that's really what it comes down to. They'll play. They're healthy. It's just healthy as far as they don't have an injury. But if they don't have COVID, they'll be out there. So Rams-Seahawks preview here. Just to throw some stuff out there. OBJ has played Seattle twice in his career. Once as a Giant, once as a Brown. In both games, he went over 100 yards receiving with 6 or more catches. He is looking for his first career win against Seattle, as he is 0-2 against Seattle. Will OBJ go over 100 yards for the first time in his career with the Rams this Tuesday? Does it happen? I'm curious to see what people think, because I keep saying yes, and it just doesn't happen. He's come close, but Matthew Stafford really distributes the ball well, to the point where I could see him not getting to 100 just because he spreads the ball out so much with, between Jefferson and Kupp. Now also keep this in mind, Cooper Kupp is getting to levels where, and he's already been there, but we're talking about him breaking records that are on display, records like, Calvin Johnson's receiving yards record in a single season and Michael Thomas's receptions record in a single season. I think they're both on the line. I think Cooper Kupp has a shot at both of them, so that's something to keep in mind there. Sean McVay is 7-3 against Seattle all time in his head coaching career, and he is 19-10 against the NFC West all time. Sean McVay just wins. That's what happens. I mean, he has these moments where, they go into a little bit of a skid or what have you, but what did I say to you guys? Said over and over again, he's consistent. It may not be great to be consistent in this aspect, but he always has these stretches. It may go 2, it may go 3, depending on the games, but he has these moments during the season where the team loses their identity or they don't play to their strengths. They play down to their opponents, what have you, and then he bounces back, and he's doing it again. So that's something there. Rams wide receiver OBJ is looking to make it his 4th straight game with a receiving touchdown Monday. He actually did accomplish this feat in 2015, weeks 10 through 15. So he already did the 3 touchdown in a row. We'll see if he can get to 4 touchdowns in a row. In addition to that, Matthew Stafford is 85 career passing yards away from 50,000. He currently has 49,915 through 181 regular season and playoff games. So 184 games total. Matthew Stafford's trying to get to 50,000. Obviously, looks pretty good. He'll probably have over 50,000, through the beginning of the first quarter. So there's that. The Rams offense has created 10 plays of 50-plus yards this season. LA is the only team with more than 7 through week 14. Aaron Donald has 14 career sacks against Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, more than any quarterback in his career. Donald is obviously going to look to add some more this Sunday. And by the way, Aaron Donald, if you haven't been paying attention, he's been playing an unbelievable amount of, he's been needed, right? But Aaron Donald last week pressured Kyler Murray more than any defensive pass rusher pressured any quarterback at any given time this season. Everybody is trying to cash in on the next best crypto, but if you want guaranteed way to double your money, all you got to do is head on over to MyBookie and use promo code JKDTR. It's simple. Sign up with MyBookie with promo code JKDTR, and your first deposit is instantly doubled all the way up to $1,000. How's that for a quick turnaround in your investment? With the NFL playoff race heating up and college bowl season just around the corner, double your firepower at MyBookie to get action in on the most important games of the season. Build your own props, create multi-game parlays, and take part in a host of MyBookie cash prize contests. This is the best time of year to both watch and bet on sports because you know who the winners are by now. Don't miss out. Double your first deposit by using promo code JKDTR. And keep your eyes peeled for more exclusive holiday promotions coming soon at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, bet anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Girls, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of finding a bush when I go down on my man's chimney. Dear Santa, all I want this holiday season is for my man to have smooth jingle balls. Thankfully, Manscaped answered with the Performance Package 4.0, so I don't have to find Santa's beard in my man's pants again. Ladies, this holiday season, get your man products that will leave him smelling fresh with their all-new ultra-premium body wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to give the man in your life the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use code DTR for 20% off plus free shipping.
So, all of a sudden, Aaron Donald, who no one is talking about as Defensive Player of the Year. It's all about Micah Parsons and TJ Watt, and rightfully so. Watt would probably be my guy right now. I think he's having a phenomenal season, and I think it's his, thing to lose. But Aaron Donald, with the next 4 games, he has a chance to win this Defensive Player of the Year award, and I will cite the reasoning behind it. If you go back, the year Aaron Donald didn't win the Defensive Player of the Year because the Rams went 4-12. Okay? And he didn't win because Khalil Mack's team went, 12-4? Aaron Donald was absolutely more deserving. However, they went with the player that was going to play in January. And that was the thing. So now you look at this, and the Steelers are 7-6-1. They're not a guarantee to make the playoffs. The Rams are almost guaranteed to make the playoffs. They will probably clinch a playoff berth next week. They can't clinch one tonight or tomorrow night. So, with that said, Donald could still win Defensive Player of the Year if he finishes out this, next 4-game stretch on a high note and the Rams, say, win the division. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing I want to point out, and I want to point this out because this isn't really previewing the game, but I want to throw it out there anyway because I broke it down. And, I've heard over and over again, and you guys already know if you follow me on Twitter, over and over and over again how Matthew Stafford can't win MVP because he had a bad 3-game stretch. So I was tired of hearing that because I just think it's ridiculous. I think one quarterback's held to one standard and another's held to another. If you're wondering who I'm talking about the guy who basically told the other team to go, F themselves on the sideline and didn't get hit with a taunting penalty. Yes, that is Tom Brady. Did you guys know both Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford have 4 losses each, right? We all know that. Tom Brady is 118 of 177 for 1,224 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 3 fumbles in those 4 losses. Matthew Stafford, though, who everyone, because, we don't talk about Tom Brady's shortcomings, but Matthew Stafford, we always bring up playoff record, and is he really that good? Was he the reason the Lions were bad? Whatever. Stafford, 104 of 168, 1,119 yards, 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 1 fumble in those 4 losses. One guy's considered an MVP favorite, and the other guy is always constantly pushed aside, and always, for whatever reason, we're not talking about Matthew Stafford being better than Tom Brady all time. We're not talking about that, okay? That's not an argument. Tom Brady is better than Matthew Stafford all time. I think we can all agree on that. But when we're talking about a season, and we're talking about the MVP, Matthew Stafford is having just as good of a season as Tom Brady without going out there in the fourth quarter of games that they are dominating and throwing deep, 50, 60 yards down the field to pad his stats. The irony is that he's called Stat Padford, but I'd make the argument that Tom Brady's been padding his stats the majority of the season. In those games where they're blowing teams out, he's out there throwing bombs downfield. Well, last night he was unable to do that because the Saints punched him right in the mouth and exposed the fact that, look, Brady's one of the all-time greats, no doubt, but he got shut out for the first time in 15 years. That's not an MVP quarterback. Is he an all-time great? Yes. Is he having a great season? Yes. But when it's this close between him, Stafford, Kupp, Jonathan Taylor, and Aaron Rodgers, that's sometimes, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. When you're trying to decide who the MVP is, I'm not picking the guy that totally dropped the ball on prime time at home in front of all the fans, a chance to clinch the playoffs, who lost 9-0. The defense played out of their mind, and Tom Brady put up 0 points. Stafford hasn't done that all season. Stafford's had his moments. He's thrown pick sixes, whatever you throw that in my face all you want. But at the end of the day, I think Stafford in this game kind of taking it back because this is a Rams-Seahawks preview. Stafford at the end of the day has a chance to really push himself into that status and get himself out there. Because now everyone saw Tom Brady on Sunday Night Football lay an egg. And they're using the excuses, well, Chris Godwin got hurt and Mike Evans got hurt. Okay. All right. That's fine. Why did Tom Brady put up 0 points then? We're talking straight 0 when the defense only gave up 9. And Tom Brady, like, think about this. Matthew Stafford not only beat him head-to-head, so that shouldn't even be a thing, but Matthew Stafford lost to Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, okay, and Jimmy Garoppolo. And by the way, I've given Jimmy Garoppolo a lot of flack, but Garoppolo is having a great season. He's playing very well as of late, and I think he's somewhat underrated at this point. So my point is that Matthew Stafford lost against really good quarterbacks in teams that are all competing. The 49ers are probably going to make the playoffs, right? The Packers will probably get the number 1 seed. Arizona's going to make the playoffs. And the Titans, they're right in the picture to get the number 1 seed in the AFC. So those are the losses that the Rams have had and that Stafford's had. Tom Brady, on the other hand, has lost to Matthew Stafford head-to-head. And then get this. He's lost to Taylor Heineke, who, I mean, that team may or may not make the playoffs, but they're not looking too good right now. Taylor Heineke, Trevor Siemian, and Taysom Hill. I'm just saying, like, this is the GOAT everybody wants to talk about, and that's fine all time. If you want to say that, I'm not even going to argue with that. But if we're talking this season, I think it's time to start giving Stafford some respect and appreciation and realize that, hey, you know, the record might not be there, okay? They might not be that much different than last year's Rams with Goff as far as record, because you look at last year, the difference, a big difference is not having Matt Gay. Last year, if they had Matt Gay, they probably go 12-4, not 10-6. But that's besides the point. Look around the league, okay? We want to throw that in Stafford's face. How much of a difference has Stafford made compared to Jared Goff? But what we never look at is the fact, look at all the teams around the league. No one is separating themselves. No one. The Packers have 3 losses. The Cowboys have 4. Tampa has 4. The Rams have 4. The Cardinals have 4. Who's separating themselves? The AFC right now, the leader is the Chiefs, who they have 4. So essentially, it's all hogwash. As long as Stafford takes care of business on Tuesday, and he won't drop at all in the MVP race, Stafford has that record. So he basically is tied for second place in the NFL based on record. But we want to hold it against him because of his bad 3-game stretch. The only thing is, if the Rams won those 3 games, the Rams would be the best team by a mile on the books. And that's just not the case right now. But they're as good as anybody. And that's the thing. So, you know, if you want to make the argument for Cooper Kupp, I wouldn't dumb that down. And honestly, I will say this. I got to give credit to Jonathan Taylor, who, I'll be honest with you, I'm a big fan of Carson Wentz. But Jonathan Taylor has started to carry that team in ways that I have not seen running backs carry teams. We saw a glimpse of Todd Gurley, but to say Todd Gurley was carrying the Rams would be a disservice to what Jared Goff did in 2017 and 18. No, actually, it's kind of impressive. Jonathan Taylor has over 1,500 rushing yards. He has almost 20 touchdowns, okay? This guy is actually having a better year statistically. He is on pace to have more total yards from scrimmage than Todd Gurley did in his best season with the Rams. So if he won the MVP, I would understand that. I would totally understand that. And I'd understand if Kupp won it. But the idea like that Matthew Stafford isn't an MVP candidate just doesn't fly with me. So I had to throw that out there. You know, we're also talking about the Rams and how big this is because Tampa lost. The Cardinals lost. I mean, now we're in a weird situation where the Rams can tie the Cardinals, and you would really be rooting for the Colts against the Cardinals next week. That way the Rams could take over the division. But then for seeding purposes, because of the conference record tiebreaker the Cowboys have, you would be rooting for the Cowboys to lose to the Cardinals the week after, which would help the Rams. as long as they take care of business. So, there's a lot going on. This league is never, it's brutal. You talk about the New England Patriots, they won 7 straight, and then all of a sudden they lose that one game to the Colts, and now they're the 3 seed. That's just how it is. That's how the NFL is. So the Rams have to take care of business against Seattle. Then they have to go to Minnesota. They have to take care of business there. They have to beat the Ravens, and then they go back to SoFi to end the season against San Francisco. So we'll see how that goes. But looking at the injury report, the Rams carried no injury designations. Kind of confusing because I can't tell you who's going to have, who's going to get out of the COVID protocol and who's not. But what I will say is that the Seahawks have a bit of an injury presence on this board here. Pretty much everyone's going to be good to go, but they had guys like Quandre Diggs and D. Eskridge and DK Metcalf. So, there's definitely something there. But I'm curious to ask you guys. I have 31-19 Rams. I think they take care of business in LA. They beat Seattle. They sweep them. And they knock Seattle pretty much out of playoff contention. They wouldn't be mathematically eliminated, but they'd be pretty darn close. So I have 31-19. I'm curious what you guys think. Drop your predictions in the comment section below. Yeah, the defense looked really good, and they're getting Ramsey back. We'll see if Vaughn plays, but one of my thoughts on Rams signing Demarius Randall and Austin Reeder. Love the depth there. Reeder's a former starter, didn't give up a sack, with the Chiefs. Had a little bit of a rough go with Miami. I don't know if I would entirely say that was his fault, kind of who was around him there. Miami doesn't have the greatest offensive line. And then Demarius Randall's an interesting one. I believe he's a former first-round pick, and this is somebody that has kind of bounced around the NFL. He started off strong in his career, and he's kind of bounced around. But, he's a guy that has a lot of, veteran experience, obviously. He's been around the league a little bit. So, we'll see. He would be, he'd definitely be getting playing time. He's activated. So he's not just on the practice squad. He is activated. He will suit up. So we'll see, because if Jordan Fuller can't go, and I believe Terrell Burgess is still on the COVID list, then it would be Taylor Rapp and I believe Demarius Randall if Nick Scott isn't. Problem is there's so many guys in the COVID list that you have to have the list in front of you to kind of understand. So Jake Funk, Travin Howard designated for return. They'll be back on Tuesday. Probably in more of a special teams role, but I'm interested to see if Travin Howard, who I projected to start with Ernest Jones before the season started, if he gets more of an opportunity. I don't know if he will, but we'll see. So, with that said, practice squad, Delrick Abrams was added. He is a second-year guy out of Colorado. Then you have Adrian Ely, Oklahoma offensive tackle, was added to the practice squad. He is a rookie. Grant Haley is off the COVID list now. He is on the practice squad. He'll probably be activated. Javan Hawkins, as you know, he was activated for the Cardinals game. Drake Jackson, rookie that I liked coming out of the draft out of Kentucky. He was added to the roster. And then, Austin Reeder, of course, is on the practice squad. We just talked about him, a 6-year man out of South Florida. Ryan Santoso is a kicker, 26-year-old, second-year man out of Minnesota. He is an emergency kicker who will be on the practice squad. If Matt Gay were to have gotten COVID in any way, Santoso would be the backup. Greg Stroman, really like this pickup, sneaky pickup, 4-year man out of Virginia Tech. I liked him coming out of the draft. He's still only 25 years old. I like the promise of developing Stroman. And then Carson Tinker is a long snapper, 7-year man out of Alabama. He's, again, insurance in case, they were to lose Orzek. So that is that on the practice squad. But looking at the COVID list, here is the COVID list by number. So we'll start off with 4, Jordan Fuller, Juju Hughes, number 23, Terrell Burgess, number 26. Antoine Brooks, number 39. Jake Gervais, number 39. Von Miller, number 40. Obanai Okoronkwo, number 45. Jamil Demby, 64. Sebastian Joseph Day, 69, but he's also on IR, so it's not like even if he came off the COVID list, he'd be able to play right away. Noteboom, number 70. Havenstein, number 79. Pinckney, number 81. He was just added to the practice squad from Vanderbilt, second-year man. Johnny Munt, who wouldn't be able to play regardless, and Tyler Higbee. Practice squad COVID list: Tyler Hall, number 37, Justin Lawler, number 53, Christian Roseboom, number 56, and Jonah Williams, number 92. So seeing as the Rams wouldn't have Joe Noteboom potentially and Rob Havenstein, that could be an issue. Bobby Evans was added back onto the roster, so he's a guy that could get an opportunity, as well as Tremaine Ankrum, who's also taken off of the COVID list. So, we'll see in that regard. Just recently, it actually looks like Demarius Randall was signed to the active roster. So, they still have Nick Scott. He would probably start with Taylor Rapp if those guys aren't good to go. But Tremaine Ankrum, your offensive line is looking like you have Corbett, Coleman Shelton in the interior, A.J. Jackson from Iowa, the rookie. He is also back from COVID. I doubt they would throw him into the fire at right tackle, but he is there. Bobby Evans, who's played right tackle before, he's there. Tremaine Ankrum, who's played right tackle. David Edwards, he's played tackle before, in Whitworth. So those are the offensive line, and Brian Allen, of course. They don't have a ton of depth, guys that could go right in right away and play. So the hope is that they're going to get more guys for this game. They're going to get guys back. It sure sounds like they're hopeful for guys like Von Miller, and they're hopeful for Jordan Fuller and Tyler Higbee. But I would argue the biggest one here, in my opinion, is right tackle, because you want Havenstein or Noteboom back. You need at least one of them. That's going to be a big thing there. They could overload the right side and make it a little bit of a pain for Stafford. And like I've said in years past, Seattle's defense, they kind of turn it on later in the season. They haven't been all that bad. So, they give up a lot on the ground, but this is a team that can get some pressure. And if they do, this is going to be fun. Tuesday football. And by the way, guys, that means you get 2 Rams games this week. How about that? Pretty awesome. Okay, so practice squad COVID list: Mike Jackson from Miami and Pierre-Olivier Lestage from Montreal. They are on the practice squad COVID list for Seattle. And then reserve COVID-19 list, you have Alex Collins, Travis Homer, Kerry Hyder, Tyler Lockett, Brian Moan, DJ Reed, and Brandon Shell. That's a big loss if they don't have Tyler Lockett or DJ Reed. Alex Collins, Travis Homer have had some opportunities in the running back room, but it does seem to me like we're going to get a big dose of Rashad Penny, who's coming off his best career game with 2 touchdowns last week. So they will be using Rashad Penny quite a bit. This is also a huge opportunity for guys like Freddie Swain and Dwayne Eskridge to make a name for themselves if Tyler Lockett is indeed ruled out. But that's a decent hit. Kerry Hyder is a solid pass rusher. That's definitely a decent hit there. But, looking at the depth chart, guys that would be next man up if DJ Reed can't go, you would be looking at cornerback Sidney Jones, Bleswan Austin. Bless Austin originally was drafted by the Jets. Now he is with Seattle. John Reed and Nigel Warrior. So they are definitely not depth-filled or proven depth-filled at corner. DJ Reed is a very good corner. That is going to be a significant loss. I expect this team, they're going to try to double cup. I think they're going to fall into the same mistake that Arizona made. They double cup, And then eventually, this is what happens when you have a well-orchestrated offensive attack and you've established your identity. Because what happened last week is that the Rams saw that Cooper Kupp was getting double-teamed, and so they ran the football. And when they ran the football well, which included a 5.7 yards per carry average from Sony Michel, all of a sudden, it turned everyone's attention to the run game. And when they started to sell out against the run, yeah, they were having some success. Sony Michel's yards per carry average dropped. But what happened was it opened up opportunities in the passing attack. And, of course, when you're looking at play action. And what happened there, Cooper Kupp ended up going over 100 yards, and nearly all of them were in the second half. So this is one of those offenses where it's like you pick your poison. You just have to hope the Rams don't execute as well as they can. And so with this Seattle team, it'll be interesting to see what they want to do. If they want to come out immediately and try to stop the Rams' run games, sell out, stop the run, neutralize their play-action passing attack, that would be intriguing. But I guess the good thing about the fact Stafford has really been a backyard player, so to speak, as far as the way he throws the football. And most of the season, he's been coming out of the shotgun and he's been going empty. Because of that, it's also kind of given him another opportunity and an option should the play-action passing attack be kind of, phased out, so to speak. So Seattle's going to have to really, pick and choose what they want to do and give up what they want to give up. And because it's going to be tough. If the Rams get off to a good start running the ball with rather it's Sony Michel or, Jake Funk, Darrell Henderson, Javian Hawkins, Mekhi Sargent, you name it. If they can get off to a good start running the football against a team that struggles defending the run, might I add, then it's just going to open up the play-action passing attack, and Seattle's going to have a really hard time matching that. Seattle has a quarterback that can make plays with his legs, that can extend the play, that can improvise. He's great at that, and that is Russell Wilson. But at the end of the day, Russell Wilson was beaten by the Rams in the earlier part of the season on Thursday night. Was he hurt? Yes. But I would argue when Russell Wilson went down with an injury, and I'm not rooting for him to go down with an injury, but I would argue Geno Smith came in and played better ball and gave them a chance to win down the stretch. Now Russell Wilson's back. We'll see. He's had a hard time against Aaron Donald. I think Aaron Donald gets home in this game. I think you'll see more Greg Gaines chasing down Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson isn't as fast as Kyler Murray, and he chased down Kyler Murray last week. So you'll see that. I think also some good, really good things to kind of pick apart from the games that I've watched over the last few weeks. Darius Williams is really turning himself around. He started off the season not having the best year. Then he goes down with an injury, and it's looking like, it's just a down year, going into a contract year. Yes, it could be good for the Rams, and maybe he'll cost less, but ultimately you don't want a player to struggle, and that's what happened. And so he came back, and since he came back from this injury, Darius Williams has been unbelievable, and now he gets Jalen Ramsey back after having his toughest matchup of the year, being forced to guard wide receivers like DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk, one-on-one, whoever, you name it, and he really answered the bell. He had 3 pass breakups in that game. So now here he is, not having to be the number one guy. Jalen Ramsey's back. You got some really, really intriguing contribution. And hopefully maybe this is a little bit of a Kickstarter for the future in David Long, who had his best career game last week on Monday Night Football in front of a tough crowd, road crowd, against a big-time team, going up against guys like DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, that's the hope, is that he's going to bring that in. You're getting good play out of Ernest Jones. We'll see if Traven Howard gets some opportunity. Troy Reeder is off the COVID list, so he could also get some run. And the problem is, with last week, they used Terrell Burgess a ton in the star role, and now we're not really sure where that's going to go. So if Terrell Burgess, plays, then they'll probably use him a little bit in the star role. Maybe have Jalen Ramsey cover a little bit more. But since Jalen Ramsey's back, he could be in the star role, and then they don't really use Burgess. So we'll see And that all depends if Burgess is back. But the Rams have a lot of different ways to win this football game in any football game. And so I think at the end of the day, it was really important. It was quite honestly imperative for the Rams to be able to come out and establish their dominance on the road against Arizona. And now they have to protect their home at SoFi against Seattle. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's been a lot of fun. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you enjoyed this. Tomorrow, we're going to have a preview and a post-game of the Tuesday night football game. And then, of course, we're going to get into, short week for us. We're going to break down the preview for the Rams and Vikings game. We're going to have a preview, a pregame, a postgame. Be sure to follow me at JK Bogan for more updates and just anything, I guess. That's going to do it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon. Later.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DTR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and make sure to use code DTR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.